Last time I watched that scene in that film, you were all 3 stories high. I saw it on IMAX. Give us your observations about working with Mr. Nolan.
I mean, I wouldn't be here tonight if I hadn't participated with Cillian as the head of the acting department under the tutelage of Chris Nolan. There'd be no reason to have me here as a modern master, because what have I done for you lately? And so, I mean, I think that if you're lucky enough to have someone see something in you that you're not even sure they're right and thinking you could do, it's this faith thing, you know? It's like he was so certain. I mean, Cillian was a much easier decision to make. He's worked with him 5 times. You know that he could carry this epic and really important story. But I was saying this last night, and when you're a visionary filmmaker, it means you can see things that other people can't see. And in this case, I think it was his faith in me. And then it was this just monastic and really focused education, and like here's how you make a proper fucking movie. You know, and I was like, wow. So I wouldn't say I was mortified, but you know, Cillian's only seen me on this last film, whereas like if I'm not prepared within an inch of my life, I will probably evaporate. Whereas, you know, I'm not saying I had gotten it all lazy, but you know, it was more like rolling off a log for the last 10 years or so, and you don't roll off logs around Chris Nolan. So it was just very exacting and very rewarding, and I think it's probably the best movie I've ever been a part of.
Did he present you with a lot of research and background about the man you're playing, or did you have to go digging?
He did, but by the time I was done reading the script, I remembered that I've read in several other books that were cross-referencing him, and he was always kind of a, you know, a behind-the-scenes guy, but he'd been a lifelong public servant, so I just really leaned into, and he had said too, he said basically, Cillian's Amadeus, he's Mozart, you're Salieri, get into it. And I was like, well, I usually play Mozart. He's like, yeah, well, Cillian's the guy for this, trust me. Whole fucking movie's about him, and you're playing the bad guy. And I was like, yep, sounds about right. And it turns out that there was plenty of historic animosity to draw on. And I also just thought about every time that somebody had embarrassed me in public, or I felt less than, or looked over, or walked past, or not acknowledged, or on the outside, or people didn't know that my voice or opinion mattered, or whatever. And it was kind of like Less Than Zero. I remember in Less Than Zero, I thought, will any son ever really connect with his father? That's what I was thinking about on the tennis court. And this time I thought, like, can humanity survive all these petty grievances that these egotistical, usually men have with each other? And I was able to just go, well, let's play this shadow side of it. And that's how Straws was kind of formed. And it wound up being a great learning experience.
Spencer Tracy said, as we've all read, movie buffs all know, hit your marks, say your lines, tell the truth. Do you have anything to contradict or add to that?
First of all, never disagree with Spencer Tracy. Yeah, and like if you're doing much more than that, you're thinking, Susan will sometimes say to me, oh, hi, are we putting a hat on a hat again? And I'd be like, hey, 2 hats is cool. You can wear one way and one other. This was really all, sometimes the weirdest lesson is like, do less, feel more, like get out of your head and just do the, you know, just like do what's in front of you. And also like, listen, you know? It's not like I went in there and say, well, this Chris Nolan guy is not very bright. I'm gonna have to really take the reins here, you know?
Listen is crucial, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's something that you've said before too, which is at our best, this weird cultural thing of making, films and TV is like we're communicating something. And hopefully we're communicating something that transcends the period of the film or the characters. We're talking to these deep, subconscious aspects of ourselves. And I'm still studying the implications of what I think Nolan, being a visionary filmmaker, I think his vision was like, we're in that 80-year period again, these 4 generations where we tend to almost destroy ourselves. And I think that intuitively his timing for making this film is what you see. The great artists also give us something that's a contemplation of something that is urgent in our culture. So that's what he does.
That's a great summing up, which means it's my turn to reintroduce Rob Lowe and the aforementioned Cillian Murphy.
Oh my God, together?
Your award.
Aren't they a handsome couple?
Come on, you give it to him.
We have something for you.
Do I just go grab it now?
I'm sorry, I wasn't clear on the blocking.
Test out that speech, baby.
All right. I'm going to keep this pretty short. First of all, as we all know, the missing integer in any event is the audience. I really want to thank you for showing up. Thank you for giving me all this energy. It felt great. Speaking of modern masters, I mean, I really was reminding myself of your significance in our culture and what you've done, from being a scholar to a writer to a critic to a host, and just, again, your approval means the world to me, and I appreciate that you feel like I'm in a good spot. And I feel like Sally Field, he likes me. I like that a lot. And I love his whole family. I was hanging out with him backstage. They're a cool bunch. Rob is someone who has demonstrated so much to me, and we've been able to reconnect lately. And I went on his podcast, and we're kind of talking about our origins. But he was the first one in my generation to say, guys, there's this thing called stop and grow up and handle your business and be a good dad and be a good husband and enjoy the privilege of being able to work in this industry, which is why he's still relevant and why he still looks 27. And then, and Cillian is straight man to no one. He is just, I think, beginning to understand by the reaction he gets when he comes to places that he is a fucking force of nature, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of him in the future. That said, I just want to let you in on a little something. My agents, Andrew Dunlap and Phil Raskin, came up with me, and we've been looking forward to this for months. We got matching PJs, we're going to hang out and stay up late. So this whole Santa Barbara International Film Festival, for us, this has turned into this is like party time. We had a great time. And so I want to thank that. And as always, I will never finish any thank you, even though she's probably just getting ready to put the kids to bed soon, without thanking my dearest associate, Susan Downey. Thanks for sticking it out. Love ya. Have a nice eve.